Live again, sharing a stream of what is supposed to be the hearings, or maybe it's already happened. I can't tell what's going on here.
We're going to go ahead and handle items C and D first, and then come back to item B. So with that, I'll turn it over to Tony Robinson for item C.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Item C, beginning on page 9, is a revised letter.
So right now they're doing some other stuff before they go to SB 30, so it might be a debate that's going on regarding that. Let me go back and reshare this whole broadcast while this is going on. I still haven't quite figured out how to get rid of that other thing here. I need to go back in the studio. So I did a broadcast earlier today of whether or not we were going to be able to save the Arkansas taxpayers some money. And now it's 15 minutes ago since then. So they're doing that committee is now hearing right now as we speak. They're going over some other parts of their agenda before they work on this. So of course, when they start, I'll need to be quiet so that you can hear what all's going on. Lots of bouncing around today and this issue. Okay, let me bring audio back up.
All right, members, do we have any questions on item D? Seeing none, do I have a motion for approval? Motion and a second. Any discussion? All right, hang on. Discussion. Speaker Evans, you're nice. Seeing opposed, no. Motion carries. Thank you, guys. And now we're going to move.
All right, Madam Chairman, item B, beginning on page 3, is a member amendment from Senator Rice that will amend Senate Bill 30 for the governor's office. The amendment will remove one governor senior advisor position at an SPC 11, lowering the total authorized positions from 59 to 58. The amendment will also lower regular salaries by $189,211 and matching by $75,684 for a total reduction of $264,895.
All right, Senator Rice, you are recognized.
Okay, you want me to present from here or go to the table?
Well, we're just having discussion. If you can do it at your seat is great.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
At your seat is great where you're at.
Okay, you ready for me to present?
Yes, ready for discussion.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I brought this amendment to SB 30 to the Joint Budget Committee, which is the process available. The amendment is necessitated because many Arkansas citizens from around the state feel the former Secretary of Corrections, Joe Fury, has broken the public trust with them and has been disingenuous in his former title of Secretary of Corrections and the continuing Department of Corrections process on multiple issues. In the 18 years I've been in the legislature, we have required state employees to testify. As co-chairs of Joint Performance Review, Representative Cozart and myself agreed Mr. Fury needed to answer legislators' questions regarding his corrections work. The procurement of the Franklin County land had zero public input. Mr. Fury publicly promised transparency and communication would follow. It did not. I don't believe that one of you would invest your own money in a project that didn't even have the promise of water. Yet the legislature wanted to invest millions of taxpayer dollars in a project ripe with basic questions that would drive cost up tremendously and not have a turning back point, just obligate more money without taxpayers' voice. As allowed by the Arkansas Constitution, which we all took an oath to uphold, the Board of Corrections members asked Mr. Porfirio to share his intended plans as secretary, and they would work with him. He ignored multiple attempts. A major trust breaker was Mr. Porfirio's refusal to appear as requested by both chairs at the September Joint Performance Review Committee meeting. This is exactly the mission that Joint Performance Review was set up to handle, and I'll briefly tell you the duties. The Joint Performance Committee, which I'm going to abbreviate as JPR, shall have the authority and responsibility, one, to make random and periodic performance review of specific government programs and agencies. Two, conduct investigations in such specific problem areas of the administration of state government as may be brought to the attention of or as determined by the JPR committee or the co-chairs of JPR. Number three, refer specific problems regarding the operation of state government to appropriate interim committees of the General Assembly for continuing study. Four, conduct hearings on citizen complaints and views regarding the operation of state government and serve as a forum for citizens to air their complaints and suggestions regarding the operation of state government. Five, review the expenditures of the various agencies, departments, and programs of state government to assure that they are being administered in accordance with legislative intent and being administered in such manner as to provide the taxpayer with the greatest service at the lowest reasonable cost. Number six, make such reports and recommendations to the governor, the General Assembly, and the Legislative Council as the JPR committee deems necessary or appropriate to promote more effective and efficient operation of state government. And a 7A was added, investigate allegations of violations of election law referred by the Attorney General's office. To finish up, respectful factual presentations were made by the public in JPR, September committee. Two agency heads did attend, but multiple times they said they didn't know or weren't sure of important questions. Mr. Porfirio, as former Secretary of Corrections, should have been there to answer legislators' questions. As I was told during that meeting, he was in the Capitol, had been seen in the hall at the same time. He didn't even reply and chose to snub legislators' questions. The lack of support from legislators on the JPR committee to issue a subpoena is troubling for a separate legislative branch that has the right and authority to do that. The largest trust breaker was former Secretary of Corrections Joe Porfirio's pulling a major corrections contract that had been worked on for a year and a half. Did he favor someone else? Was just scrapping a committee's vast time spent working on this and replacing them with other people for what he thought would be a predetermined outcome? I don't know. He wouldn't answer. It resulted in costing Arkansas taxpayers over $350 million, I am told, not the 300 I said previously. As Secretary of Corrections at that time, Joe Porfirio is accountable for what he caused and the lack of want or will to work with others. Gray hair hasn't worked for him. It doesn't automatically produce wisdom. $1 million already spent on compensation with what results? $350 million wasted. Almost $1 million spent by veneer for what? At least the Department of Corrections refused their billing Arkansas for liquor, first-class airfare, and hotel upgrades. Even Donald Trump replaces appointees when they prove they can't perform duties successfully. Let's make a statement that we don't want to continue spending $265,000 a year on bad results and demand public testimony to the legislature's Joint Performance Committee if Joe Fury is to continue as a state employee. I would appreciate a yes vote for the Arkansas taxpayers you represent.
All right,
Madam
folks,
Chair.
they're about to, I guess, he's doing his opening statement.
Is there
Now
any
we're
other
in
discussion? Representative Lane Jean, you're recognized.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I don't have discussion. I was either talk to, have the governor's office or the Department of Corrections come to the table if anybody's here.
Someone from the governor's office, corrections, or DFA come to the table.
Madam Chair,
I mean, Representative Jean.
I think you got somebody with the Department of Corrections that's standing up that may want to come forward.
Well, that's fine. Come to the table, and I've got a few questions before we start in on the questions, if that's okay.
That's fine.
If you'll state your name and who you're with for the record, please.
Jim Hudson, Secretary, DFA.
My name is Lee Watson. I serve on the Board of Corrections.
Just before we start in on questions, are you here on behalf of the Board of Corrections? Have they given you permission to speak on their behalf?
No.
So
No,
you're just here as an independent? Okay. Can I recognize Senator Dismang real quick? I'll come back to you. If the line of questioning is with this. Yeah. Okay. You're recognized, Senator Dismang.
I'm just going to make sure. So we've asked a Board of Corrections to come up and talk about a governor's office position, one of the same board members that was adamant that the governor not have influence on their position. I mean, I'm not sure what value he's going to bring, but if we're going to just have back and forth that aren't tied to the position, then I don't think that's the purview of this subcommittee or really even JBC. I mean, if we just want to air laundry about how he doesn't like a man, then I don't think that's appropriate for this committee. And so whatever he does speak to, I mean, I think we need to be pretty restrained on what we allow him to do. I think there is definitely irony in someone from the Board of Corrections wanting to talk about the governor's hire.
Senator Hester, you recognize.
So you're not speaking on behalf of the board.
No.
They did not ask you to come.
No.
So you said just a second ago you were here as a citizen. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, we don't allow citizens to give testimony in budget committee. So if you're here on behalf of the board, maybe that's different. But if you're here as a citizen, we don't take testimony in the committee.
I responded only because the question was asked if anybody was here from, with the department. So I just want to make sure I made my presence known.
I understand Senator Dismang and Senator Hester, but Lee Watson is a member of a state board. Now, whether or not he's appearing on behalf of the board, to me, is not an issue. Now, I'm sick and tired of the governor's office show, and they don't even show up today. And this is not right for the people of Arkansas. And Mr. Watson is on the board. He has comments. If he wants to make them, if they're relevant to the matter that Senator Rice has brought before us, I think he should be permitted to do so.
Representative Jean, you're recognized.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I just got a few questions. I don't know if Mr. Hudson or Mr. Watson can answer this. You know, and I really would have liked somebody. What is the timeline for Mr. Fury, which I support, taking over the Department of Corrections? You know, there's been some shift on the board. I don't think there's any objection to the board, certainly a majority of the board, to hire him. What are we waiting on? Will he be head of the Department of Corrections by July 1 of 2026, which this bill doesn't affect it until after that? Nobody's told me what the plan. I've asked several members. Nobody knows. I just want to know what the plan is of Mr. Furry's return to the Department of Corrections.
Representative Gene, I can't speak to any sort of timeline about that. What I can say is Secretary Wallace, she is the secretary, and she will continue to be the secretary until the governor decides she's not the secretary.
So you've heard no plans of the timeline of when he returns?
I've been part of no discussions about that. No, sir.
Okay.
But in the interim, he continues to do his job as an advisor to the governor.
I understand that.
Yeah.
Mr. Watson, do you have any idea of anything you've heard on the board?
Not on that topic, no.
Okay. So we have no timeline when he will return to the Department of Corrections.
No.
Just that hadn't been discussed. And if it's got anything to do with the lawsuit, we got a new board now. The lawsuit could have been dropped. Has that been discussed?
Publicly it has, and that's still in the courts at this time.
Okay. Well, I guess I've got all I'm going to get. Appreciate it. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Senator Johnson, you're recognized.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So I heard a lot of, I don't know who to ask this question to, but the performance in his current job is what's pertinent to the discussion, and all the discussion that was given was a job that he doesn't currently hold. I think that's the relevancy right now. It's not what was done before. It's what he's doing now as an advisor that's pertinent to this discussion.
Representative Kavanaugh, you're recognized.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And I'm not sure who can answer this. I'm going to ask this question best way I know how. If this amendment were to pass and the job was to go away and the appropriation for the money, there's nothing that prohibits the governor from hiring him as another position. Is that not correct?
That is correct. Then
okay.
You interpret that correctly.
Okay. I just want to make sure I understand. Even if this were to pass, he could still have a job in the governor's staff if she so chose, and it's in her purview to hire who she wants.
Correct.
Thank you.
And just to make sure, if I may, just that members are clear, the governor is making no request of you to change her budget. She's not asking anything of you other than to continue to approve that which you approved before. And she consistently manages her budget conservatively. She returned last time over $1 million of her budget back to the state treasurer. She is a shrewd and effective manager of her office's budget.
All right. Seeing no other discussion or questions. All right. What's the will of the committee? I mean, I don't. Okay. Motion and a second. Any other discussion? All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. The noes have it.
Roll call.
Do I see 5 hands? Roll call. All right. Can roll call.
All right, Madam Chair. Starting with Senator Petty, Senator Blake Johnson, Senator Bryant, Senator Caldwell, Senator Hill, Senator Letting, Senator Dismang, Senator Hester, Representative Kavanaugh, Representative Jeremiah Moore, Representative Richmond, Representative Holcomb, Representative McCullough, Representative Clowney, Representative Jean, Representative Evans,
All right, members, motion fails. We will move on to item E.
Okay, well, kind of not that surprised.
all right, Madam Chairman, moving on to item E. This is regular business items.
So that was it, folks. The attempt to keep Joe Porfirieri off. The attempt to save, which would have been, I forget, $265,000 salary for a useless position, it failed. Well, folks, that's pretty much what's going on with our legislature. I don't need that at all. Follow me at Just the Right Angle for more updates on what's going on. Remember, when the righteous rule, the people rejoice. That's pretty much it. You all have a great day. Thank you for those who contribute. We'll try to see what else we can do. Maybe in January, when some of at least a few of Sarah Huckabee Sanders' friends in the legislature are removed, there's a chance there might be things might be a little different.